Hello, this is Amit, and in this video I am going to tell you about the law of increase. This whole universe operates by law, and this is one of the law. Let everything that hath breath praise the law, Lord, praise ye the Lord. Without exception, I believe everyone has read or heard the delightful story of Aladdin and his magic lamp. How a poor boy had stumbled upon the little genie who led him to find a dusty old lamp. It was a magic lamp, and when he rubbed it briskly, a little man appeared out of a cloud before him and asked to fill his wishes. We as children have always dreamed of fairies and the beautiful things in life that we wished we might have. Yet many of our dreams remained as much because we could do nothing about them. In truth, we may not believe in fairies, but we know there is a principle equivalent to the magic lamp. No, it is not something material that we can carry about and rub at will to find a little genie to do our bidding. It is an understanding which enables us to use the law more clearly, and in using it we stimulate our good and bring about much for our pleasure and happiness that seems like magic or miracles. This understanding is the act of praising God, the law, for that which we desire, and invariably the fulfillment of desire is speeded to almost magic proportion. Praise has ever been a common method used to employ the attention, favor, and blessing of God. However, one believed in it. In early history, we learn that the people would bring their sacrifices and place them on the altar to gain the favor of Jehovah. Following this act, they would render their praise in song and ceremony, believing that by so doing they would be favored, their prayers would be granted. The singing of songs or the blowing of trumpets does not bring the results you pray for, nor do you suddenly gain favor with God because of it. The effect of your efforts does not influence God in any sense, but it does influence you. It enables you to be lifted up and unconsciously touch the law and gain its blessing. What has been an unconscious act or an accidental method can become its blessing. What has been an unconscious act or an accidental mental fact and a regular means of stimulating your good. If one learns the simple method of praise, that alone will stimulate and increase his good. Praise is a complementary to faith, whereas faith is wisdom and understanding. Praise is the application of that understanding. Faith is the boiler that holds the substance of power, whereas praise is the fuel that generates that power into an active force. Praise is a stimulant of the mind. It quickens prayer, it magnetizes all the good around you, it transforms that good into usable, visible substance. A woman was crying bitterly and praying truthfully to God for her needs. The master, hearing her, silenced her and asked, "Is your God a God of tears, of grief and anguish and pain? Or no, God is a giver of joy and peace and happiness and love. You want peace and joy, yet you pray to your Father with tears. If you want black, do you expect to for white? If you ask for a fish, do you expect a serpent? If you ask for bread, do you expect a stone? You can only get what you expect, for the unchanging law is ever working to supply you. Prayer should not be one of supplication, pleading, begging, and treating a sad state. It should be one of claiming, declaring, decreeing, praising, and a joyful thanksgiving. Praise is an avenue of prayer through which the spirit law expresses itself. Praise is a broad highway while all other forms are only feeding arteries. Through this inherent law, when man praises, he opens himself upward to God. He lifts his consciousness to a higher realm and becomes greater channel to receive the good that is ever waiting to come to him. Praise opens a little door in his mind that enables him to draw closer to God and to be attuned to the divine forces within and about him. Praise is the shortest route to complete any demonstration and the quickest way to enjoy effectual prayer. Praise expands and opens the mind upward, while its opposite, condemnation, contracts and restricts. You have experienced at some time, I am sure, this law in your affairs. Have you ever had someone to condemn or criticize your efforts when you were trying to please? Did you not feel like folding up within yourself? Perhaps you even felt like quitting the job and letting someone else worry about it. Least of all, such an experience suppressed your interest and zeal, and you didn't desire to do better. That is how one reacts when the law is reversed. Whereas when someone praises you for your efforts, you feel like expanding and doing better, trying harder to be more perfect. Your interest becomes greater because of that pleasure, and with your happiness, you bring happiness into your work and all around you. It is a well known fact that even plant life is responsible to praise. For I have seen flowers praised to no longer and beauty. When we are praised or praise ourselves, there is a physical response within our bodies. Doctors tell us that the cells of our body respond to the love. They seem to know and to expand in strength, in capacity, and even in intelligence. Of course, we know that it is the mind working through every cell that causes the expansion. All thoughts act through an individual ether, as water expands into power when it is heated and retards into a solid mass of ice when it is chilled. The law of spirit is reflected in the law of physics. Though we may not sense it or fully understand it, our thoughts are moving continually in this individual ether, and they are either increasing or diminishing in power and intelligence. When we praise the richness and opulence of God, the law, our thoughts are greatly increased in the mental atmosphere. These increase affects our being in that it reflects in everything our mind and hands may touch. If we are contracting our thoughts through fear, criticism, and complaint, we reflect that contraction and our results are delayed or frozen. Praise with the heart is far more vital and effectual than praise with the head or praise from the lips. Praise does not flatter nor influence God as it does some humans who are turned by superficial praise and applause. Praise is not intended for God. It is intended only for man and is an aid to enable man to lift himself upwards to become attuned with the law or God. It raises the state of consciousness that he may become more respective to the good about him and lifts him above the lack of it. Praise raises man his vibration, speeds up his activity, stimulates his faith and contacts a higher realm of thought. If conditions are bad, our harvest lean or trouble besets us, we are apt to forget to praise, and we storm at our failures and often blame God for his neglect. When one can sing praises in the face of adversity, the adversity will soon disappear. That is not a promise, that is a law. Learn to render praise, to be thankful for the good at hand, and you will have found the magic lamp of spirit. The attitude of mind not only brings forth our desires, but it also generates our confidence, strengthens our faith, builds up as assurance for the things to come. Thus, to be able to praise when things appear the darkest will inevitably force the sunshine through. Our degree of faith in the law and God is measured before we receive, not afterwards. It is that degree of faith that determines what we shall be capable of receiving. One of the first requisites of the law is that we keep ever an attitude of praise and thanksgiving. If we hope to receive of God His outpouring good, we must keep ourselves receptive, and praise is one of the simplest means known to accomplish this. Be ever grateful for the very least of things, and the very most will come to you. We must keep our thoughts uplifted always, and praise is the means that will do this. Praise is faith in action. A faithful law, faithful observed, will ever reward generously the observer. The law of praise will lift you from sickness to health. It will raise you from ignorance to intelligence, from poverty to affluence, from weakness to strength, from fear to grace. In fact, the law of praise will promote you in all things and in all ways. Begin using the law now. With praise and gratitude, you are working the law, and the law will give the increase. Praise life that good is everywhere. That is the law of increase. I hope you learned something from this video about the law of increase. For further video, please like my channel, subscribe it and share it with your friends. Thank